Hey everybody, it's me Stacy at Scrapbooking Made Simple, and I'm here with another YouTube demo for you today. We have got a lot going on. We're going to be using Hero Arts with their shadow inks and some of their new stamps. We're going to be playing with Tim Holtz Distress Embossing ink. We're going to be playing with Ranger's Perfect Pearl. So with so much going on, I want to go ahead and get started, so we're going to scroll on down, okay? Bye! Down we go. Okay, there we are. So first off, I want to give you an idea of what it is we're going to be making today. Right here, this card. Love it. I hope you can see that the gold in the background, that is the perfect pearl that we're going to be playing with, along with the gold on the flower. So to do this, we are going to start with our Hero Hues shadow inks. Now, this ink is unusual. It's not like a Memento, it's not like a StazOn, it's not like a Versa ink. It's a very soft ink that blends very, very well. And I want to show you how we use it, very similar to a distress ink. And I'm going to be using plain cardstock. This is just plain white cardstock that we all have in our stash. So I'm going to get started and we're going to make the background paper first. Now, the shadow inks come in lots of colors. I'm using the soft purple, but we've got 12 colors of them. And the first thing I'm going to use is I'm going to take my Tim Holtz dauber here, and I'm going to use it with the foam spongy top, not the felt. And the foam spongy top is sold like this. And if you already have one of these for your alcohol inks, you can use it as well as your regular inks and your distress inks just by changing the pad that's on top. This is the foamy one. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to ink it up, and I'm going to start swirling just like we would with a distress ink. The difference is, because I want highs and lows, I'm going to ink it up and I am going to spritz a little bit of water with my mini mister on it. Spritz a little bit of water. And what that's going to do is slightly dilute the ink so it gives me some highs and some lows in different colors. Now I'm not sure, well, I'll hold this up so you can see that I've got a lot of pinks going on, a lot of deep purples going on, and that all has to do with adding that little bit of water. It doesn't take a lot. Okay, and I'm swirling and adding. And then when it looks like I need a little more water, I just spritz again. Ooh, there we go, spritz again. And keep going. So you really are able to play with your colors because by adding that water, like I said, it dilutes the color a little bit and gives you these really defined highs and lows in your colors. So this is where I'm at so far. And I hope you can see that I've got some darker colors here, some lighter pinks here, and it really is just beautiful. You can go back again and again and keep adding color, and I've only used the one ink. I've only used the soft purple so far, and yet I've got pinks and little shades of blue in there, and it's just really nice. I really enjoy doing that because with one ink, everything blends so beautiful since it is all the same color. And I'm just going back over the top of it. Now, when you're all done making your background paper and you've got your color just the way you want it to be, we're going to go ahead and use the Tim Holtz Distress Embossing ink. And this is a really cool ink. I really like this embossing ink. It works for everything. I'm going to take my Hero Arts stamp. This happens to be a new one by Basic Ray, and they are on the way in. We happen to get this one from Erin at Hero Arts. Thank you very much, Erin. I'm going to ink it up. And then I'm going to go ahead and stamp it straight to my paper. Press it down, and there we go. Okay, pull it up. And what it looks like when you've pulled up is very similar to a watermark. Can you see that? But something happens as it dries. It takes the color and it lightens the color where you've stamped. And I want to show you that. I have taken this one and all I've done is stamped it with the Distress Embossing ink. And can you see how it has taken that color and lightened my background color so that the stamp comes right through? It almost looks like I've stamped in white. And if you feel it, it feels like it's been embossed. It has all the bumps and the layers. It's really cool. I really like it. But no, we're going to be playing with Perfect Pearl today. So I am going to be taking a little bit of my Perfect Pearl, and I've got Sunshine, I think, here. And I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of Perfect Pearl on my brush here. And I'm just going to kind of put it all over my card. No rhyme, no reason, I'm just putting it on my card. Then I'm going to take my fluff brush here and just lightly, ever so lightly, move that Perfect Pearl around. And what it's going to do is it's going to grab onto where that embossing ink is. And it's just going to adhere itself right to that embossing ink. And there we go. Put a little bit more. And you can just add and add and add until you're completely done. And can you see? It gives it a foil look. It's just beautiful. The metallic is gorgeous. And the Perfect Pearl, they're all metallics. So there's bronze and blues and golds and purples, and they all have that metallic feel to them. So I've got one here that's completely done. And this is what we get when we're done. And that is how we made the background paper for this card. So very simple. Again, we just went over our plain cardstock with some of the Hero Hues shadow inks. I put a little bit of water on my sponge dauber to bring up some highs and lows and change the color of the ink a little bit. Then I went ahead and I stamped with my stamp using the Tim Holtz Distress Embossing ink. And then I went back over my card using my Perfect Pearl and just kind of put it wherever, because it's not going to adhere where that distress ink hasn't been stamped on. And I have made the background to my card. Now we're going to move on because I want to show you how to paint with the Perfect Pearl. And that's what we're going to do next. So I've got a little bit of water here. Again, a paintbrush, and this happens to be a Perfect Pearl brush. I'm going to take a little bit of that water and put it right onto my craft mat. I'm going to grab a little bit of my Perfect Pearl and blend it right into my water. Now, once you've made a paint out of it, you can paint just about anything. You can paint on top of, or fill in your peel-offs, you can paint flowers, you can, anywhere you want to put the accent paint, you can. You've made a beautiful accent paint. But I'm going to paint it straight onto my stamp. Okay, so I've got a brand new Hero Art stamp here, and I'm going to paint it directly onto my stamp. And hopefully I've got enough going on there. Okay, now I'm going to turn it right over and stamp with it, just like you would any normal stamp with any normal ink. And pull up. And there's my image. And it's just beautiful because it's all metallic and pretty. Now I've got these that I did earlier, and they're all dry. And these are ready to be cut. And that is what I've done with this one. I've gone ahead and cut it out. And as you can see, the gold metallic-y is still there. Now what I did on this one is I went back with my shadow ink and my dauber, and I just went over the tops of it. Now I'm going straight over the top of that Perfect Pearl with a little more ink to give a little bit of a definition, to give a little shading. And it's okay, not a problem. You can go straight over that Perfect Pearl with your ink. And you could use chalks, but I'm trying to keep everything all matchy-matchy. So I'm using the same ink because I want it to all blend beautifully. I want it to all layer beautifully. And then I'm going to take it and I'm just going to distress it and crinkle it and fold it and play with it until I get the look on the flower that I want. Okay, Now we still have the leaf to do. And the leaf was done very similar. I took my Hero Arts Shadow Inks. I took my dauber with my foamy top. I got it all juiced up and ready to go. I put it onto my basic cardstock. I added a little bit of misting if I wanted to change my color up a little bit. And then I went back and I stamped on top of it. So I went through all the exact same steps again. And this time I took another Hero Arts stamp and I got a little bit of water. I got a little bit of my Perfect Pearl. I blended them together right onto my Ranger craft mat here. And I inked or painted up my stamp. Now I used a stamp, this leaf here is a little bit grungy, and that's the look that I wanted, was a little bit grungy. I didn't necessarily want the most perfect leaf. I wanted it to have a little bit of highs and lows. I'm going to take it, press it right down, and pull up. And there we go. I've got a couple leaves on there. And as you can see, my leaves are not perfect, and that's okay. That's what I want. I don't want them to necessarily be perfect. I want to cut them out and crinkle them and ink them and have a little distressed look to them. So I've got one leaf here that I've already cut out, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. I am going to take my dauber and my ink. I'm going to put a little bit on there, and then I'm just going to go right around and add a little more color. And again, I'm going straight over that Perfect Pearl. You can do that. It's okay. But the finished look is absolutely gorgeous. That metallic from that pearl is just beautiful. And then I'd take it and I would play with it and fold it and bend it until I get the right look. So far we've made the background paper, and we did that by using the embossing ink, the Distress Embossing ink by Tim Holtz, and the Perfect Pearl going right on top of it. This time we stamped with the Perfect Pearl for the flower and the leaves, and then you can just take any piece of paper and stamp your sentiment on it, throw a little bit of, again, I used the same ink to chalk around the edges and give a little definition, and that's what we have. Now I've got another here that I did in just the greens, and I kind of wanted to show you the difference. This side here is where I have just used the Distress Embossing ink with the stamp, and I let it dry. That's all I did, was let it dry. And can you see how it's lifted the color and changed the color? It's absolutely beautiful. It almost looks like I've stamped with white, but I haven't. I did nothing more than stamp with that Distress Embossing ink and let it dry. However, on this side, I went ahead and I took an opalescent Perfect Pearl and went over the flowers to give that opalescent feel to it. It's so subtle but so beautiful, and as background paper, you can take any background stamp and do this, and you've now made your own background paper. Okay, so what did we learn today? Oh my gosh, a lot. We learned that Distress Embossing ink by Tim Holtz is wonderful. It does amazing things with the Hero Arts Shadow inks, and I'm sure there's so much more that you can do with it besides using it just to put distress powder on and heat it. It's a wonderful ink. We really enjoy the Hero Arts Shadow inks. They're not like a Memento or any other ink. It's a very soft ink, and when used properly, you can use it and blend it and get highs and lows, and the best way to do that is by using it with a dauber and just a hair bit of water from your mini mister. We learned that Perfect Pearls, not only can you use it with an embossing medium, but you can paint with it as well to give you two different looks of metallic. And we've learned that Hero Arts has got some fabulous new stamps coming out, and we should have them here shortly. Actually, we already have this one already, but I think we're sold out. At any rate, we hope that you had a great time. Thank you so much for joining me. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to let me know. Just put a comment on the YouTube or send us an email. Okay, guys, Have a wonderful afternoon, and there's